call tonight. That way, if anyone misses, we can get it to them. Thank you guys so much for being on tonight. Thank you for being on live. I just think it's so powerful to be here. And I know that team calls are not always easy to get on. You're trying to get kids down to bed and you're, trying to get crazy, all the things done. I know Mondays are just kind of insane. But I just think there is so much power in being here and showing up live. And Courtney said she's working out while listening. I love it. But just the power of like being here and seeing everyone's faces and just that reminder of like, you're not on an island. This is a team and we're all here and we're all in this together. And I think sometimes even if you just are listening to recordings, it even feels like you're just watching videos of someone else's team, but to be here on the call, is just really powerful. So I just want to say thank you guys for making this a priority. It's also really stinks to get on and put a ton of work into a PowerPoint and then get on and nobody show up. So I just want to say thank you too, especially on the weeks when we have guest speakers, for just really making it a priority, because they're taking away time from their own business to pour into a team that's not even theirs. And I just am always so thankful when you guys show up big, because it's just really powerful. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. I do have a PowerPoint for us tonight to kind of walk through and keep me on task. So I'm excited about tonight. I'm excited to just kind of share what's been working for me. And hopefully it will be really helpful for you guys. Can everybody see my screen? That's looking a little funky. Okay. Oh. Well, now that you guys have seen the whole PowerPoint, I'm just kidding. Can everybody see this? Are we good? Everybody sees this? Awesome. Okay. So if this is your first time on, let me just say, first of all, welcome to the Fit for His Glory Sisters. My name is Caroline Foster, and I am the mama bear of the Fit for His Glory Sisters. I became a coach almost 7 years ago, and about 9 months into the business, I created Fit for His Glory. So I kind of did just like Caroline Foster Fitness for a bit. And the Lord I was actually doing a Beth Moore study. And I remember like sitting on my porch at my on my 1-bedroom apartment. And I was studying the scripture, and I just like heard God say like Fit for His Glory. And I was like, God. And I was like, you know what? If it's available, then that's totally from you, because that's a really good name. And for it to be available on Instagram is like, that means it's totally from you. So I like went and searched it on Instagram and it was available. And so I snagged it and kind of just like started. And so it's just such an honor. It's always an honor to see everyone on here and just to think about like how far this team has come. I think it's easy to look at coaches who have been here for a while and think, wow, like, I'm never going to be able to get there. Like, I could never do that. I could never build my own team. I could never do XYZ. But like, we all started with 0 followers. We all started with nothing. I mean, I was telling one of my coaches just the other day that 3 years ago or 2, I would host team calls and no one would show up. Literally no one. And I would just talk to myself and record them and then post the recordings and be like, hey guys, here's the team call recording. But like, little did anybody know that no one was actually on it live. And I just showed up like I was a leader, and I showed up like the leader I wanted to be. And I showed up even though I didn't really have a team, and the team eventually came. And so I just want to encourage you guys as we kind of head into tonight's call, just to like take off any negative lenses that you have around this, or anything that I even hear people say, well, Instagram's changed a ton over the past 6 years and you can't build a brand like you used to be able to. But that is a lie from the enemy. And God is bigger than an algorithm. God is bigger than what works on Instagram and what doesn't. Like, he truly is. And so I just want to start off by saying that tonight. We're going to be talking about building a brand on Instagram. We're also going to kind of dive into inviting a little bit and kind of how I invite via Instagram. And so I think this is going to be hopefully, my goal is that this is a really helpful call to where you can go back and implement these things pretty easily. And hopefully even share this recording with new coaches when they join our team as a way to help them start to just get started. Obviously, Instagram is constantly changing, Facebook is constantly changing. So it is really important that as a coach, you stay on top of those things. I personally am of the standpoint of like, I obviously 100 million% like trust the Lord with the content that he gives me. If he calls me to share something on Instagram, like I'm going to share it and I'm going to trust him in that. I'm not worried about like, oh, well, the algorithm says I need to post XYZ. But I do want to be a good steward of the message that he's given me. So if that means that posting a reel is going to help me get more eyes on it, then like I want to post if posting it in a reel form as opposed to a feed form, then I want to do the thing that is going to steward the message well, and it's going to hopefully get it into the most hands. I want for you guys to be able to show up in your work with a holy hustle, in the sense of you show up, you give your best, you do it in a way that is stewarding what you're called to well, so then you can jump out and be done, right? Like you get in, you hustle, but then you trust God and you know that he's going to take care of it. And like I will say I truly live this out, and I want to show you guys like how I live that out today. Towards the end I will get into my way of doing things, but we're going to talk right now about just building a brand on Instagram. So feel free to, throughout the call tonight, like blow up the chat section. I'll check it every now and then. I might be able to actually just pull it off up over here to this side. That way that if you guys have any questions, I would love to just answer them throughout the call. I'll kind of check it from time to time. Okay, let's dive in. Building a brand on Instagram. Okay, so before we do, I kind of forgot about this. I was like ready to go. But before I do want to take a second and do some recognition. I mentioned on our first call in January that going into 2021, we're going to really up the recognition. We just want to celebrate you guys more. We're really trying to find ways to do that better. But I want to first start off with our Changing Lives Club for the month so far. I have a few people that I do want to specifically shout out to are just doing such an amazing job. First off, Kinsey Johnson, this is her 4th month in the business. So I'm just so proud of her. She just hit Success Starters in December, and she is just like so fun and so faithful. And I know she's not like always on the team calls and things like that, but she's just crushing it, and I'm so proud of her. I also want to call out Erica Brown. This is her 1st month hitting Success Club, and we're only halfway through the month. So it's just amazing to see you guys like continuing to grow and reach new people. And I also wanted to shout out Ashley Price, who also just hit Success Club. She literally signed up January 1st. She's already an Emerald coach, and she's already hit Success Club. So it's just really cool, again, to see you guys just growing and the Lord using y'all, and I'm just so honored. So, and then also lots of representation on here from the Radiant Tribe with Ashley and Amanda and Patrice. So again, I love just seeing you guys and how God's using you. And then lots of Success Club 4s down there. So I know you guys are going to get that one more person, and I'm sure this list is going to grow by a ton even in the next week. So just keep helping people. I'm so proud of y'all. All right, so let's do a little celebration from this week specifically. So first off, top recruiter this week goes to Carly Brown. Carly has actually signed up 4 coaches in the past 2 weeks. So she signed up 2 coaches last week and 2 coaches the week before. But this is something we're going to start doing. Carly has been so consistent in this business. She is so close to diamonds. She's like literally right there. But I just wanted to kind of celebrate her today as being the top recruiter. And again, this is the entire downline. So, this could be any of y'all next week. And then top volume earner goes to Kinsey as well. Obviously sitting at Success Club 16. Volume is not just Success Club, obviously everything. I mean, you could be somebody who just sends a ton of year bods out, and you could be a top volume earner. But obviously selling challenge packs are high volume. So I just want to give a shout out to Kinsey. So I'm so proud of her. All right, so let's dive into tonight's topic of building your brand on Instagram. I'm trying to move y'all's faces around because I cannot I cannot see my slides. Okay. All right. Sorry guys, trying to minimize this. Okay, here we go. So let's dive in. So first off, I just want to say that you guys are more than a Beachbody coach. I think this is really, really important as we kind of dive into tonight's topic. When you think about building a brand on Instagram, I think a lot of people think like Fit for His Glory, or they think of a specific kind of brand name, but you as a person are a brand in and of yourself. You're sharing your story, you're building a following, you're influencing people and inspiring people and encouraging people. So I don't care if your Instagram name is Courtney Foster Fitness, or if it's Courtney Foster, or if it's Caroline Foster, or if it's Fit for His Glory, like you are building a brand. But I want you guys to know that you are more than a Beachbody coach. Instead of thinking like I'm building a Beachbody business, really start to think I'm building a brand, and Beachbody is a part of what I do. I tell people this all the time. They're like, so what do you do? Like, what's your job? I actually had someone ask me this today. What's your career? And I was like, I have a faith and fitness business that I run. And, then if we get into the nitty gritty of it, I share like, oh yeah, like I'm a Beachbody coach. It's a part of what I do. Because in my mind, like my brand is my brand. And I've built that, and it's something that, if Beachbody went away tomorrow, I could pivot and do something else if I wanted to. Hopefully that never happens because I love Beachbody, but you guys get the point. And so I want you to tonight not think about yourself as a Beachbody robot, but to think about yourself and who you are and all the things that make you you, and start to think about building that as a brand, as opposed to thinking of yourself as just a Beachbody coach. Okay, we're going to dive into this a little bit. Okay, so here are four things that kind of make me me. So I really want you guys to think about yourselves and think about the things that make your brand. So think about a magazine. I think this is a great place to start. When you pick up a magazine, there are typically certain things that make up that magazine. Pretty much every magazine has 4 to 5 things that kind of make up that magazine. And in that magazine, you know what to expect, right? Like you open up the pages and you know what kind of articles you're going to get, because everything kind of falls within these certain buckets. For me, my content is typically around the things that make me me. So I'm a mom of 2 toddlers. I'm passionate about helping women in business and health. I'm a Southern girl from Tennessee. I love fashion and all things rustic modern farmhouse. I don't even know, but like these are things that make me me. So I'm going to talk about a lot of things that don't even necessarily have anything to do with fitness, but they're just things that make me me. And people like hearing about those things because they want to know me. They want to know, what do I like to do? What do I enjoy doing for fun? What do we do on our date nights? Like they want to know more than just Caroline Foster equals Fit for His Glory, right? Like they want to know who I am. And I think now more than ever, we are seeing that people want the behind the scenes. And we're going to dive into that a little bit more in just a second. But they want to know who you are, what kind of person you are, what do you enjoy, those sorts of things. So I want you guys to first, before we dive in, I want you just to grab a piece of paper right now, and I want you to write down 4 things that you feel like kind of make you you. Now, let's not necessarily just think, maybe you put fitness on there, but think beyond that. Like, what are 4 things that really make you you? And I would even say, like, well, I'll let you guys do that first. Okay. So you've got your 4 things. So just keep thinking on it. If you didn't get all 4 written down right now, that's totally fine. But just be thinking about those things. I would even say over the next few days about really what makes you you, because that is your brand. Okay. So, as you start to think about these four things, think about who is your ideal coach and challenger. You want to make sure that the content that you're putting on Instagram and that you're putting out there is speaking to the person that you want to work with. If I'm putting content out, let's say I started randomly doing content for, a college girl, and I started posting a lot of like, oh, you're a college girl. Here's some tips on, how to eat on a college budget or things like that, but my person that I want to work with is a mom with three kids, that would make zero sense because I'm trying to talk to a college girl about how to, stick to a college budget, but yet I'm saying my ideal customer is a mom with three kids. That doesn't make sense. You have to think about the person you're talking to each time that you write a post. When I worked in corporate marketing for Red Bull, we literally had what was called brand profiles. So every city had brand profiles of the type of customer that they wanted to try to reach Red Bull with. So every marketing thing that we did was like trying to reach those particular people. It was literally a profile with a picture, and it said a ton of stuff about it. Was like a bio about this person. And so everything we did was like, how can we talk to that person? And that's what you guys want to do too. Some people call it an avatar, call it whatever you want. But you need to think about like who is the ideal person that you want to coach and who is the ideal person that you want, as a challenger. Um, because here's the thing, guys, like I know all of us want to have fun when we show up to work, right? Like if I'm showing up and I'm pouring into my team and I'm jumping on team calls or I'm jumping on calls with customers, I want to work with people that I enjoy working with, like that I like, right? Like I want, like, that's why I love all you guys because you're my people. So I need to make sure that I'm speaking to that ideal client whenever I'm posting on Instagram or, posting on my stories. I want to find who those people are so that I attract them. For me, I would rather have a ton of quality coaches who are my people than a bunch of coaches who are not my people, right? And so really think about who is your ideal coach and who is your ideal challenger. And this may take sitting down and literally drawing a picture of them. That's what Chalene Johnson tells people to do. Sit down and draw a picture of who is your ideal challenger and coach. So that you can really figure out, okay, this is who they are. What kind of brands are they following? What books are they reading? What authors do they like? What, clothing companies do they shop from? And guess what? You want to know where you can go follow those 100 people a day on your tracker, or 50 people a day on your tracker? Go to those brands, then go to their profile and see who's commenting on their photos and follow people who are commenting on their photos, not just people who are following them, people who are commenting, because those people who are commenting are people who are engaged with the Instagram app. There's a lot of people who have Instagram, but they don't get on it very often. They might follow people, but they don't actually like comment on things. So you want engaged followers. You want people who are going to come comment on your posts. You want people who are going to come watch your stories. But think about your ideal person and where they're hanging out because you need to go find them. Some people are like, I don't like following people. I don't like to have to do that. But here's the deal, y'all. I mean, in today's age and time, like, unless you want to spend a bunch of money doing ads on Instagram, people just are not necessarily going to find you. Like, they're not sitting around like, hey, I think I'm going to go type in Carly Brown and see if it's a fitness person that pops up. Like, people are not sitting around thinking, even like, hey, I'm going to go look up Fit for His Glory on Instagram. Maybe that's somebody. No, they're not going to see your content, especially with the algorithms. And so you have to be proactive about getting out there and, finding people and commenting on things. I'm not saying send cold messages. I do not like cold messages, and we're going to talk about that later. I've never sent a cold message ever, literally, since I became a coach. Never before that either. So I've never sent a cold message. I don't like cold messages. But you can still engage with someone and start following them and leave a comment on some of their photos if you wanted to. Do some things to kind of get their attention to where they want to come and follow you. Because again, it's about stewarding the message well. And you just want for people to see what you're putting out there. Okay, so let's talk about first the power of Instagram stories. So you can use Instagram stories to connect with your followers. This is a really great way to give people kind of that behind the scenes feeling. But here's a couple of my tips, and this is what I've learned through the Instagram training that I just went through, the most recent kind of course. I went through, basically it was 5 days and it was an hour per day. But use the Instagram features that Instagram offers as much as you can. Use these little boxes over here. I actually posted this on my Instagram stories today, but as much as you guys can use these little boxes, the poll options, those sorts of things, the better your stories are going to be seen and the higher the engagement's going to be. One way that I personally go about connecting with people is replying to when they like drop answers in here. So I just kind of want to show you guys, hopefully you guys can see this, but it'd be like me pulling up my Instagram right now. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to find where I posted that poll, and you know, all these people replied. That's just so far. So my sister put, because you're my sister. Awesome. But you know, I could click on this. So if you guys don't know, you can click on here and you can do just message the person. And you can just send them a message and say, hey, thanks so much for commenting on my the poll that I did today, or you know, thanks so much for dropping that in the box today when I asked about why you follow me. What you said was really encouraging. Like, this is not me being fake. This is me being genuine. Like, it was encouraging. Now, I'm not going to send that to someone who didn't say something encouraging. I'm not telling you to like say something that's not true. Okay. That's not what I'm saying at all. But if someone says, you know, you're inspiring, or because I love your heart for others and you're my sister in Christ, or whatever, like, I'm going to take the time to message them back. I'm not just going to read these and ignore them. But the more that you post these kinds of polls, the more that you use these features, they're just such amazing ways to kind of get to know people. I asked somebody, or I asked on the next one, like, what was your favorite thing that I posted over the past like few weeks that you can remember? And you know, it's cool just seeing the things that people said. This one girl said your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 tip, where, you know, you want to sit down and scroll Instagram and you're like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up. And it's those little things that seem so like just mundane to us, that aren't that big of a deal, but because they're such second nature to us, but for other people, those could be really inspiring tips. Y'all, when I started doing those 20-minute, I don't know if everyone here follows me, but I do these timers where I put in 20 minutes on the timer, and I just do a quick cleanup and I just post them. And I cannot tell you guys how many people tag me in those. Like, I mean, it's not tons, but it's at least 3 to 5 a week. And I try to regram them. I don't always regram them, but the more that you can engage your following to where they're taking those tips and then they're posting about it, then, you know, other people see that and they're like, oh, I want to go follow her if she has great tips. And so these are just all ways that you can engage with your following and build your following. And so connect with them, take the time, answer what they said, send them a personal message. You might share it on your main story, but then send them a personal message, because these are really great tools and ways to start conversations. And let me remind you guys, your job as a coach is to serve people, to help them get results, but also it's just to be like a person who's making lots of friends. If you want your business to grow, you're in the friend business. And so just think of ways that you can connect with new people. Okay, so a lot of people ask this, how much should you story? And so first off, let me say this. This really hit me hard the other day, and I'm probably going to butcher the number, so just stay with me. But one of my friends posted on Instagram stories, and she said, I think it's funny how people say, oh, that girl is always on her phone. And she's like, oh, is she? Like, why do you think that? Because she's always on Instagram stories. And she's like, oh, okay, well, how many times did she Instagram story? And she's like, you know, goes and looks. And let's say she Instagram storied 20 times. Well, every video is 15 seconds. You can't do a video that's longer than 15 seconds. So if somebody had 20 15-second videos, guess what? That's what, 300 seconds? Is that right? Or did I totally butcher that? Yes, 300 seconds. So you take that and you divide it by what, 60? And that's only 5 minutes of videos. So they had 20 little Instagram stories. And to us, it's like, man, they're always on Instagram stories. But that was only 20 minutes of their entire day. And I could have just done the math wrong because I'm really bad at math. But you guys get the point. So how often should you show up on your stories? You need to share frequently, at least 5 times a day. 5 little things that are 15 seconds long. That's not that much. I do think that as a coach, you should be showing your workout every single day. Whether that is 2 little frames, 1 frame, however you want to do it, you need to show yourself doing the workouts. Even if you think you look awkward, even if you think you're like just not whatever, like you don't like filming yourself while you're doing your workouts, it's going to do a few things. Number one, it's going to hold you accountable to pushing yourself a little bit harder. Number two, it's going to make you pay more attention to your form, and think about what you're doing. But also, it's going to inspire people. There are people who are coaches that I personally follow, and they post every day them making their energize, and then they say, who got the workout in today? But they never show their workout. If I'm somebody who doesn't necessarily know them, or I'm somebody who doesn't really know what they do, I'm like, well, did they actually work out, or what workout did they do, and where did they do it? And so much of that is part of who we are, and what we do as coaches is inspiring people and showing them our workouts and having them kind of ask those questions like, oh, that workout looked amazing. What were you doing? Again, conversation starters. So think about that as one of your 5 posts that you do a day. Again, this is at least 5 times a day. And then post a story every 2 hours. So doing this helps you move to the front of everyone's stories. Everybody has their different opinion about this. So I will say that. This came from the training that I just went through. I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, 2 hours, time to post on Instagram stories. To be honest, like I just kind of post whenever I feel like it. The point here is for me, I will even take a lot of times I'll take videos like throughout the day, and then I sit down and I post a lot of them at the same time. Apparently that's not good for the algorithm if you really want people to see your stuff. It's just it's more helpful for you to just kind of post them throughout the day. So just kind of think about, like, for me, I post in the morning before the kids get up because I don't want to be on my phone all the time around my kids. I post in the morning before they get up, so I make sure I post like my wake up and my workout and my morning routine all before they're out of bed. And then I don't get on my phone until, like, I might be on my phone a little bit while I'm making breakfast or finish, like they're eating breakfast and I'm finishing something up. But then I don't get on my phone until I'm actually rocking Corbin and putting him down, because I'll rock him. So I'll get on my phone and post my stories from that morning. So if we went and did something fun, I'll post them then. And then during that time, and then typically not till after they go to bed. So I really try not to be on my phone. I have a dock downstairs and I put my phone on the dock so that way I'm not distracted by it. I have an Apple Watch, so if important iMessages or phone calls come through, then I see those. But I think just like don't let your phone become all consuming. Some people are like, I don't like tips like these because it makes me like obsessed with my phone. That is not the point of tonight. Like, I want for you guys to be able to put your phone down and be present with your family. Like, we don't need to all be on our phone all the time. Our kids don't need to see us with a screen in front of us all the time. But you can show up in your business, and you can, like, be a good steward of how you use your phone. Like, I do believe you can do both, but it's going to take some discipline. So, but the whole point here is that frequency is more important than volume. You could post 100 Instagram stories at the end of the day, but it's not. It's what it's going to do basically is when you post all those videos, it's going to put you at the front of Instagram stories. Whereas if you're posting every little bit throughout the day, every time you post a story, it puts you at the front. So more people are going to see your post is really what it comes down to. So these are just some things. Again, you don't have to be a robot about this and be like this about it, but they're just some things to kind of keep in mind. Okay, so remember the power of consistency and inspiring others. This is really important as coaches. I see coaches all the time who come in and out of this business. People will show up, they'll do a bunch, and like they'll do a bunch of posts, they'll be on Instagram stories, and then they go hiatus for 2 weeks. And then they're like, oh, okay, I want to jump back in the business. And they're super consistent for a couple weeks, and then they're gone again. If I am someone who is watching you and you're not really consistent in even showing up on Instagram stories, why would I think that you're going to be consistent in showing up for me as a coach? Like, why would I sign up with you to be my coach if I don't even know if you're going to actually be consistent in showing up? What makes me think that you're not going to do that with me? You sign me up, you're really on top of it for a week, and all of a sudden you're gone. Like, why would I trust that you're actually going to be consistent in showing up if you can't even be consistent in inspiring people on Instagram stories? So this is just something to think about, guys. Like, There's power in being consistent with the same message over and over, even if you feel like you're sharing it every single day, all the time. I post pretty much the exact same thing every single day, with exception of a few stories in between, throughout the day. But as far as my morning routine and my workout and what my morning looks like, there's power in that though, because there's power in being consistent and being disciplined in that. And people need to see that. We live in a culture that has zero discipline and zero consistency. And so it is good for us to show them what that looks like and how we live that out. Okay, so what to post? I'm going to take a quick second, really quick, and just jump in the chat box and see if there was any questions. Okay, someone asked, what did the people say, why they follow you? Oh, there was a ton of messages. um, Sometimes people message and say, I can never be a coach because I don't want to film my workout. Haha, but I never think twice about it. Yes, exactly, Kirby. Um, Preach. Okay. Um, so I will share with you guys. Do you guys want to know what people said? I can share with you guys. Let's just go back to it real quick. So people said inspiring, love watching your daily morning routine, super motivating, especially when I fall off. Um, Fitness is inspiration. It makes me get my booty in gear. um, and you do it in a Christian way that's not do it to look good. You motivate me to work out and eat better. I heard about you on Georgia Brown's podcast. It's my nanny, actually. You inspire me to get my body moving because you're a Christian coach and businesswoman leading others. Faith and fitness from a Christ honoring perspective. It's very encouraging. For motivation on faith and fitness. Another girl said she heard about me on Georgia Brown's podcast. Again, that's why you take opportunities and do podcasts when people ask you to. You share your faith. It truly shows that God is the foundation of your life. Inspiration. I love watching different coaches that are also Christ followers. You inspire me so much. I feel God calling me to be a coach, and I want to help other people. You're very inspiring and genuine. Because you give meat in your post and don't copy other posts. You do you and you're authentic. Yeah, just a ton of stuff like that. But so you guys get the point. But I mean, that's really encouraging, and that kind of made my night. But those things go a long way. Like you guys heard all these people saying, you are consistent, you are consistent, you are consistent. I could probably look around this video right now and go through every single person and say consistent on the Instagram stories, not consistent on the Instagram stories. I notice it. And if I notice it, I know that the people who are really watching you are noticing it. Your coaches that you should be inspiring, your customers that are waiting for you to show up, people who are just on the outside watching you. It is so important that you guys are being consistent. And I just literally cannot say that enough. This business is built on consistency. It truly is. I don't care if there's some days when I only work 20 minutes, like truthfully. But there's other days when I work 2 or 3 hours. But the point is I'm consistent and I show up and I get my tracker done. And I do that 5 days a week. And even if that's all I'm able to do that day. So the power is the consistency. It's not a ton of time. It's just literally being consistent. Okay, on to the next thing. What to post. So really things have shifted when it comes to Instagram stories. Documentation over forced creation. So people right now, I had a call with Michelle a couple weeks ago. We talked about this. People want to see behind the scenes. They want to know you are a real person. They want to know that you struggle. They want to know that you like to eat pizza. They want to know that your hang up is your nutrition and you're trying to hone that in, or whatever it is. They want the behind the scenes. They want to see like what you're doing. If you're not comfortable sharing your pictures of your kids, that's totally fine. But they want to see at least like what motherhood kind of looks like for you. They want to see that you have a messy kitchen, or that you don't have the white farmhouse kitchen. I mean, that was my thing for a while. I didn't want to take pictures in my kitchen because I'm like, it's ugly. I just don't like my kitchen, because I really don't. But I would love to redo it, but it's really expensive. So I'm about to DIY it. But they want to see that stuff, because they want to know that I'm not this girl who's got this perfectly put together life. Like, they want to see that stuff. They want to see the behind the scenes. They want you to show and tell. So this is really important. I hear so many coaches say, I don't want to show my face. Guys, they want to see your face. If they're following you and, you've got to build some confidence, guys. Like, practice, make some videos, post them. Don't rewatch it. Just literally make the video and post it and move on with your life. It goes away in like 24 hours. So it's not going to be there forever. But that's what's going to build confidence. People say to me all the time, how do you make those reels? Like, I don't understand how you make those reels. It's like, I don't know. I just one day decided I was going to make a reel and I didn't think twice about it. I just did it. And sometimes I think, man, I'm 32 years old and I'm posting a reel and I probably look like I'm trying to be 13. But at the end of the day, it's about inspiring one person. And if I get haters, I get haters. If people laugh at me, they're going to laugh at me. My sisters laugh at me all the time. They make so much fun of me. But it's about inspiring people and encouraging people. And not everybody's going to understand that. And you have to be okay with people not understanding you. And so be yourself. Like, don't try to be me. This is another thing. I see so many coaches who try to be me and try to do things just like I did things. And that's not bad because sometimes it's part of just building confidence. But I want to encourage you guys tonight to be you. Like, if you do something different than how I do something, if you're not a 5 a.m.er girl, that is totally fine. Not everybody needs to be a 5 a.m.er. Like, if you're more the girl who, has her other thing that she does, like I know that Anna Bay always posts about word over world. And I love that she's kind of made that a thing that she always talks about. And everybody kind of has those different things that they do. Anna Bay loves wine. I'm not into that. She shares a lot about that. That's her being her. And I'm thinking Anna Bay because I'm trying to think of other people. But Courtney is really passionate about Chick-fil-A. She shares about that. Like, be you, because people can see when you're trying to be someone else and they want to know who you are, and they are signing up with you for a reason. And so just be yourself, and people are going to love you for who you are. Value is less key when it comes to Instagram stories. So while value is always going to be important in your feed, bringing value to your followers, um, you don't need to have a game plan every single day for your Instagram stories. I want to free you guys up in that, okay? Like, you don't need to have this whole curated out plan. Now, if a plan helps you, you can make a plan. You can sit down and say, hey, today I want to make sure I talk about coaching. Tomorrow I want to make sure I talk about a challenge pack. We have an amazing Instagram planner underneath of the New Coach Toolkit on the Google Drive. So if you need help with that, print it off, plan out your stories. But value is still key in your feed, but you have to be more flexible in stories in order to step outside that tight confining of your niche. And so just make sure that you're mixing it up. If you want to talk about how you're painting your kitchen cabinets and ask people if they want to see it and post a poll, these are going to be new ways for you to connect with people and talk to people beyond just fitness. So like, don't feel like everything has to be this fitnessy post and only about your business and what you're doing, because again, people love the behind the scenes, and that is all important. Okay, tag others. So really try to think about, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've been trying to tag several of my customers. So I made a list of all their Instagram handles, and I'll go in and copy like 5 each day. And right now I'm just doing the girls who are in the Taking Back Control Grace Camp, but I try to tag them, and sometimes I tag them and I just, I drag it off of the picture. A lot of times that's what I do. I don't personally love it when it has a whole bunch of tags on a photo. So tag others, because when you tag them, they're going to regram that. And then they're going to probably say something like, oh, I love working with my coach, or just something encouraging. And that gets their followers seeing your stuff and being like, I wonder who that is. It looks like she's doing some kind of fitness challenge. Maybe I'll jump in. Maybe I'll follow her. Again, these are ways for people to see who you are. You can use up to 10 hashtags. These aren't as important. Tagging is obviously way more important, but it is easy for you just to add some different hashtags onto your Instagram stories, and it puts you on the feed of those Instagram tags. So some people follow like hashtags. Like, they may follow farmhouse hashtag. And so when they're watching stories, they'll watch the hashtag for farmhouses. And they may see like an Instagram they really like on there, and they may start following it. So this is, again, another way that you can kind of get eyeballs on your stuff of people that may not find you otherwise. You can also tag locations. So this isn't as important, but it's just easy to do. Like from time to time, I'll tag my daughter's like gymnastics studio. I don't do a whole lot of location tagging, especially if it's somewhere in my town, just simply because like I don't want everybody on Instagram to know where I live. Like they know I live in Middle Tennessee, but I don't want them necessarily know exactly where I live. So, but if we're like in Franklin or Nashville or somewhere like that, then I will tag it if it's somewhere that like I'm not hanging out a lot. Like it's not a place that we go to every week. So, you know, that's just something to think about. But that's just an easy way for people, like if they're there and they're watching the stories of people who tagged it, again, just easy ways for people to start following you. Okay, so before I dive into this, I'm just going to pull up the chat, make sure I haven't missed any questions. Sorry, guys, I just want to make sure. Alyssa said, mom bun and all. Guys, I show up on Instagram stories with no makeup on, like pretty much every single day. So, and I wear hats all the time because a hat basically for me is a mom bun because I just don't, for some reason, my hair is so heavy. So buns just like weigh me down. But that's why I wear hats all the time. You guys are cracking me up. The amount of comments you have to delete on TikTok. Let's just see. I'm trying to make sure I haven't missed any questions. I love this. Courtney said, if you don't show them how relatable you are, they'll make excuses as to why you can do it and they can't. And if you show them how real your life is, then you can show them how they can do it, basically. Cool. Okay, just making sure that I didn't have any questions. Okay, so let's jump into the biggest IG story mistakes. So you versus y'all. So you need to be talking to one person. And I do this a lot. Like I make the mistake of saying y'all or hey guys, and really I should say like hey girl, but really trying to talk more to one person as opposed to saying you guys or talking to a whole bunch of people, because again you're trying to build a personal relationship, and these again are things that you just have to get in the habit of doing. And these were takeaways from the course that I just went through. So I'm still working on as well. I'm pretty sure that I did a video today and was like, hey everybody, happy Monday. But it just takes some time to kind of retrain your brain. So overselling. Be careful that you aren't every single day talking about joining a challenge group, because people kind of get tired of that. Whereas if you're showing like, Instagram stories of your girls and their check-ins, or if you're showing transformation photos, if you're showing all these other things, then those are ways that people are going to then message you and say, oh, where what's that group they're doing? Or you get conversations going other ways. So you just don't want to feel like, I think a lot of coaches feel like what's more comfortable for people is to not personally message people. People like to just post on Instagram stories and say, I'm hosting this challenge group or hosting this sneak peek. And every week, every day, they do that. And they want to just kind of passively invite by just throwing it up on Instagram stories and be like, I wonder if anybody's going to say yes. Oh, I'm going to throw it back up there. I wonder if anybody's going to say yes. And the problem is that, like, if you're talking about that every single day, people are going to stop watching your stories because they just don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear about every single day about joining your challenge group or joining you as a coach. What's better to do, and if you guys follow other coaches, you'll see this, like, they invite every now and then on Instagram stories. I'm not saying you shouldn't ever invite or ever post about a challenge group, but what they're doing is they're starting conversations to where they're inviting people via DMs. They're having conversations with people every single day and inviting via DMs, so they don't have to post about stuff every single day on Instagram stories, because they're having personal messages in their DMs. And that should be your goal, versus always posting about challenge groups and coaching all the time on your stories. Another big mistake is that some people just don't post enough. I see coaches all the time who are so inconsistent with Instagram stories. They post three stories at 9:30 at night and expect for people to see them. Like, they're not going to see them. Lots of people go to bed, or people who are in Eastern time zone, it's 10:30 their time and they're already in bed. So like, think about when you're posting, like, is this if it's at the end of the day, then are people even going to want to interact with it because they're tired and they're ready to go to bed? So just think about these things, the timing of when you're posting. Poor graphic designs, moving stickers around to where they're hard to read or it's hard to tap on. People just end up getting bored and they just move on to the next slide. So you be careful not to be posting boring content. Like, make sure that it's easy for people to read. Try not to go more than 4 clips at a time about one particular topic, even though I did that today. Sometimes it's just going to happen, but you could turn those into Instagram TV stories or TVs or something else if it's going to be 20 slides. Okay. So just make sure that you're really keeping those clips down, because people will just kind of click through because they're tired of hearing about it. Another big mistake is not looking at the camera. Make sure that you're looking at the camera, you're engaging with people. Again, even though it sounds silly, like, eye engagement is so important. No closed caption. A lot of people do this. They don't put any kind of summary of what they're saying. So, like, if I'm, nursing my little boy, or I don't nurse anymore, why am I saying that? Like, rocking him, or if I'm doing something and I'm watching Instagram stories, but I can't have the sound up, I'm just going to keep clicking because there's no caption. A caption is when you write kind of a synopsis of what the story says. So make sure you're doing that. Just take the few extra seconds and write it doesn't have to be the whole thing, but just something to where I'm like, oh, I need to go listen to that later because I want to know what it said. The next thing is overusing filters. Like, don't overuse filters, guys. Like, finally found a filter that I love that just barely puts a little color into the room. But find the filter that's like not as much filtering. And because people just get sick of seeing a ton of filters that don't even look like you. All right, we're gonna keep going. So a few hacks. I'm just gonna quickly go through these real quick because we're kind of getting short on time. 15-second text post, photo stacking. So photo stacking is where you can kind of like put multiple photos. That's a really great thing to do. Advanced color selectors. So if you want something to be a certain color, maybe towards your brand or something like that, always remember that you can go in and click that and actually like pull out colors in the picture. That way it kind of goes with the photo a little bit more. You can pin stickers. So, kind of keep them there so they're not moving around. You can do live photos on Boomerang now. Find filters and save them. Be consistent with the filter you're using. That is all going to be part of building your brand and kind of having that cohesive look. You could make your own GIF. So one thing that I do, or GIF, one thing I do is I copy and paste photos. Like, I have them saved under my favorites, and they're photos that are transparent. So I have one that says Fit for His Glory Sisters, and like when I was pulling one for the NLC, or not NLC, elite coaches the other day, I copy those photos and then just paste it on there. So it's not an actual GIF, but it kind of looks like it. It looks like it's my own little sticker. But these things just help your photos kind of pop and make people want to look at them and watch them more. Let's see what else. Hiding those tags. I told you guys I'll tag people and then pull them off of the screen, so that way it's not cluttering up the photo. I just want everything to have a certain look and to kind of make people want to watch them. Again, these things get easier the more you do them. So, and it's okay. Like, you're going to learn as you go, but these are just some quick things to keep in mind. So things to do, and then I'm going to show you guys things I do personally, and then we'll wrap up. Sorry, I'm kind of going long tonight. So some things to do: create curiosity. I cannot tell you guys how many messages I get about what I drink in the mornings. That's creating curiosity. I'm not getting on there every morning saying, mixing up my Energize and my Hydrate and this and that. I'm just doing it, and then people want to know, hey, what's that thing you're drinking before your workouts? I get messages about that every single day. Be conversational. Again, like, you're wanting to start a conversation with people. That is your goal. So how can you make stories that make people want to talk to you? Think about that. Like, how can I make this story make people want to message me and ask me questions about it? The goal is to get people in the DMs. So you should, if you're like, hey, stuff in my business is not going super great, what do I need to do? get conversations going, fill your inbox up. Like if my DMs is not full, something is wrong. So just think about how you can do that. Vary up your link style. Do swipe up. Some of you guys don't have swipe up, but a poll or a DM me. Just all kinds of different things. Do different shout outs if you're trying to get people to have kind of that call to action. Okay, so let's talk really quickly about what I do, and then we'll dive into questions. So if you guys have questions, drop in the chat box, and I'll dive into those in just a second. So some things that I personally do is I do a lot of polls, and I message those people. So I will. So for the tracker, if you've printed off your tracker, that's how I do these touches. I'll go through people who answered a poll yesterday and be like, hey girl, thanks so much for taking a minute to answer my poll. Like, I'm so glad I'm not alone in whatever XYZ. Or, just kind of engage with them. Like, I truthfully want to build a relationship with them. So those are all touches, okay? The next thing that I do is in every single Instagram post, for the most part on my feed, I do calls to action. So I try to say, comment below with your favorite emoji, or tag a friend that would enjoy this, or save this if it was helpful for you. I try to have some type of call to action. Try not to just end things. You want to have something that they have to do in order to get people engaging with your post. And I will typically DM those people and just say, hey, thanks so much for commenting on my photo today. Let me know if you ever need anything. It's nothing fancy. That's all I'm saying, but that's a touch. I send thank you messages to every single one of my new followers every single day. So every time I get new followers, I send them a message, and it basically just says something along the lines of like, hey, I just wanted to reach out and say thank you so much for following me. Please let me know if you ever need anything. I host monthly challenge groups, and I kind of dive into like what they are a little bit. So let me know if you're ever interested, and I'd love to send you information. I send those every day. So I do get tons of people who do answer back with their email addresses. And I also get ghosted by most people. Probably 75% of people never even message me back. And probably 25% of people actually send me their email address. So again, guys, I'm not over here like 100%. Everybody sends me their email. It doesn't work that way. Like, I get a lot of no's too, but I don't let those bog me down. I don't even pay attention, to be honest. Most of the time, I don't even notice until I go back to message that person another time. And I'm like, oh, 3 years ago, they never messaged me back. I don't hang my hat on that. Just keep going. Just keep going. This is why it's important that you're following new people every day and you're engaging with new people, because you want to keep getting new eyeballs on your stuff. I plan my Instagram feed out in advance. It's nothing fancy. I can show it to you guys in just a second if that would be helpful. I can share my screen and just show it to you guys. But I plan my Instagram feed out in advance. Brian and I actually just sat down and I put, like I did January, and I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just basically put every day. Well, took the weekends out, so Monday through Friday, and then we came up with kind of like, okay, I want to post a business tip here and this here and this here, and then we went ahead and just decided what my posts were going to kind of be about. And then every Friday, I go in and basically write out my posts for the next week. So I know what the topic is going to be and what I'm going to be talking about, but I don't necessarily have the post written out. But then on that Friday before the next week, I'll write it out. So every morning, I just wake up and copy my caption, get my photo, and post it. It's super easy. I'm not sitting there like, what am I going to post about today? And it's more prayed over and thought out, because I typically take about 2 hours every Friday and I write out things on my dry erase board, and I really think about what I'm writing. And I do think your content is really important if you want to be successful. A lot of coaches wait and they write up posts every single day, and it takes them 30 minutes to write a post, and all of a sudden they had an hour and 30 minutes to work on their business, and 30 minutes of it was spent writing a caption for Instagram posts. Whereas if you just took the time and sat down and really like planned it all out at once, because a lot of times when you get in a rhythm of writing, you kind of stay in that rhythm, and so you just end up making better content if you take the time to do it in advance. I also think it helps you not just copy what other people are doing, because if you're feeling like, oh, I need to post on Instagram, let me go see what Michelle Myers posted about, and then I'll write my post. You kind of start to get to like pulling stuff of other people's instead of actually being true to what God's telling you to share. So that's my tip. I take one day a week off of social media. Usually it's Sunday. I have to delete the app because I just am too tempted by it. Sounds silly, but I just am. So I just delete the app so it doesn't even tempt me. I take pictures typically over the weekend when I'm actually dressed and actually looking cute. So we'll like come home from church and I'll just be like, Brian, can you snap a photo really fast? And because I'm actually dressed. So I typically take a lot of my photos on the weekend. So that way I just have them for the week and I'm not stressing about getting pictures or anything like that. I create space for writing captions. So I just talked about that like on Fridays, making the time to sit down and really think about what I'm writing. And then just focus on serving people. Again, like this call tonight is not meant to overwhelm you guys. It's honestly meant to help you manage what you're doing better. I don't want for instance, I mean, I really do think a lot of people get burnt out by the fact that they are posting on Instagram and sharing on Instagram. And I don't want you guys to experience that. So that's really what tonight was about. Okay, let's dive into questions really quick. Man, I went way longer than I thought I was going to go tonight. I was like, we're going to be done in like 45 minutes. No, apparently I had a lot of things to say. Okay, let me just go back really quick and see if there was any questions. All of y'all wondering how I got that fit for a square one. What is the best way to keep up with who is responding to polls after they have disappeared? I usually just screenshot, but wondering if there's a better way. So if you go to your insights, you can look at past polls. Do you know that, Courtney? Are you a business account or a personal account? If you're a personal account, I don't know that you can do this. You have to have a business account, I think.
I think I'm business, but Carly said I can also just go to my archives and all my past stories. And maybe that's what you're talking about. But I do know where insights are too.
Yeah, so it's up under, yeah, maybe you can go to archive. I don't have archive stuff, so I'm not really sure. Because when I click that, nothing's there for me. But mine's under
Caroline,
insights.
you're just not on my level yet.
What'd you say?
I said you're just not on my level yet.
I'm not on your level. Maybe that's if you have it on your person up as it set as a personal account or something. I'm not really sure. I could probably look and see. But if you go to insights, if you do have, you can see all your stories from like the past 14 days. I think you can change this to 30 days too. Yeah, you can get up to 30 days. So you can go back to them and look at them that way. It's also just good to see kind of like, and as a whole, I'll just tell you guys, I do think Instagram stories engagement has been down a little bit the past few weeks. I think people just aren't hanging out on stories as much right now because of all the stupid stuff going on in our world. Um, people just, I think, have been a little bit off social media because they're kind of sick of it. So, but I would say like mine's been down. Like I usually get like 4,000 views on Instagram stories and it's been more like 2,400. So it has been down a little bit. So if anybody's wondering, so that's what I do. Honestly, this is the part that stresses me out the most. I've been trying to get in a habit of writing in advance. Yeah, I definitely think writing in advance is really, really important. There's an app called Threads that will caption stories for you. So you talk and it captions them so you don't have to write it out. That's awesome. I have to delete mine too. I use my notes often for dictation. Yes, I do that a lot too. And you can actually do that on your stories to show you guys know there is a way that you can get it to actually like say the words for you. I've never done it, but I know that you can. Has anybody ever done it? I know you can. So I'll let you know. I use my notes often. Let's see, this was good. So much good information. What's your top 5? Kate, what do you mean what's my top 5? Like my
And you may have said it earlier, but I was like writing stuff down. But like you said, plan your IG feed in advance based on your top 5.
So at the beginning of the call, I talked about how you have 4 to 5 things that kind of make you you. So
Yeah.
I'll just share this with you guys really quick. Do you plan your reels and how often do you do your reels? I try to do 1 reel a week. It honestly hasn't been happening for me. This is what I do with reels. I plan all my captions and everything, and then basically I'll look at my posts for the week and be like, which one of these would be a good reel? And then I'll just make it into a reel. Or sometimes taking past Instagram posts that did really well And you guys can reuse content. It's your content, just so you guys know. I've been in this for what, 6 or 7 years now. And so sometimes I'll go back to old Instagram posts if I'm feeling stuck, and I'll be like, oh, that Instagram post did really good like a year or two ago. I'm going to turn it into a reel. And I'll just literally use the same caption, but I'll just kind of the idea of the post, I'll make it into a reel. Because it did well as a post, so then I'm like, well, it's gonna do good as a reel. Your top 5 posts that you do. Okay, let me show you guys I'll just share my screen. This is nothing fancy, guys, so please don't judge me. Just kidding. But how do I exit out of this really quick? And if anyone needs to hop off, you totally can. But if you do want to see this, you can totally stay on. So many tabs open. Okay. Okay, so this is it. It's nothing fancy. I plan mine out. So these are mine. Again, don't copy mine because it won't make sense for you and your brand because everyone's going to be different. But I try to do, so every Monday is going to be a before/after. So like a transformation photo. They don't get a ton of engagement for me, but here's what I believe about transformation photos. And again, everybody's going to have their own opinion. I just think it's really important to show people that we get people results, just because there's so many people out there trying to sell things, and I want to show that I do help people get results. And I think even if they don't get a ton of engagement, like mine today didn't get a ton of engagement, but if I'm a new customer, or if I'm someone who's thinking about becoming a customer, I'm going to go look at your Instagram and see like, oh, she does help people get results. I've just looked at a lot of people and other companies that are not Beachbody, and they post a lot of results photos. And Dave Ramsey, I was looking at Dave Ramsey's posts or Instagram today, and his daughter Rachel Cruz, and like they have people post like every other day, like, you know, I paid off X amount of debt, and like that's results. And so I'm just trying to share more results photos because I think it is important. So Mondays are going to be a before and after because I want to show results. Tuesdays are kind of a coach post / business post. Wednesdays are going to be a productivity owning your morning kind of post. And then the next day will be top 5 tips to taking back your health. So again, these are just like kind of things. So I'm trying to do like a before / after, something to do with business, something to do with like productivity and owning your morning because people love following me for that. And then I'm trying to do every Friday is a blog post. So I've already planned out all of my blog posts for the year as well. Well, for the first quarter. So that's January. So you can see my blog posts up here of what I'm going to be writing about. And then I have my blog post for February planned out, and March. And then I'll just go in and basically plan out each month's Instagram post. So I plan these out, and me and Brian basically put like kind of what I want it to be about the post. And then what I did was I just have a document here, and I just type up all my captions. So this is tomorrow's, this is Wednesday's, Thursday, and then Friday will be the blog post. It's already ready. It just needs to be put in there. So again, nothing fancy, but sometimes you try to make things too fancy and it's just, you just need something simple. Is there any way to see who saves my post? Yes, you can. You have to have your Instagram on a business profile. And you can also see who's sharing your post, because there was one day when I didn't even realize that like someone was sharing my post, or people were sharing my post, and I finally like figured it out. So you can see all that. One really quick thing that I'll just share with you guys, this is something I learned in another training, but if you do a post with like words on it, make it white with black writing and make it really simple, and don't put your brand all over it. There's a reason that people do that. Like if you look at like John Acuff or all these people now, they're posting on Instagram screenshots of their Twitter. We learned that in another training, because if I'm regramming something on my Instagram stories, I don't want it to be like purple with all these weird colors and real weird writing, even if I love the message. White with just black writing is just simple font, gets way more shares than if it's some kind of colorful something where you're trying to do something like different Does that make sense what I'm saying? So again, sometimes stick to what's the whole thing of like, keep it simple, like it stands for something, keep it simple, sweetie, or something. KISS. Same thing. Sometimes we just, yes, thank you. Sometimes we just overthink things, but just keep it simple. Like, you don't need to make it this super fancy thing. Like, if it's a powerful message, then people are going to reshare it. So this is a good example of one. So I posted this last week sometime, habits I'm carrying into 2021. It was white with right or black writing, nothing fancy. But you can actually, let's see, how did I do this? You can go up here to the, oh, here it is. Hang on. Okay, you can go to view insights right underneath of it, and you can see who, you can press that little arrow, and you can actually see, hang on, why is it not working? So it shows me that 14 people sent it to, like, privately DM'd it to people or shared it on their stories. And then it shows me that 56 people saved it. That's a lot of people saving a post. So what you can do is, I'm trying to remember, guys. Sorry, I got a little thrown off here because now I can't remember how I did it. If I can't figure this out, then I may have to just let you guys know later because I'm trying to remember how to do it. If anybody remembers. Let's see. Oh, that's right. Okay. Sorry. If you go to view to insights, you have to push this up. That's why I wasn't able to figure it out. You kind of have to go to, so you have to go to post insights, and then you have to push it up. Oh, what in the world? You kind of have to push it up because it looks like it's just going to be like this. Like, it looks like that's all you're going to get is that. But if you push that up, hang on. Again, why is it not working? I think it's just hard for me to do it. And so do you guys see what I'm doing? You push that up and you can actually see all the insights. And that's where you can go down and see, you can click on it and see who interacted with it and who sent it. And you can actually send them a DM if you want. Does that make sense? Okay. If you do not know how to use Instagram, watch tons of, just go to YouTube and type in, literally type in Instagram training. There is so much stuff out there. It's free. Every single thing I know about Instagram, I learned on my own, literally. I told you guys I just took a course. It's like $15 a month to do this training with, her name's Shalene Johnson, and she knows a ton about Instagram. So I did that. It was like the Insta Club Hub or something like that. But invest in your business. Like, if you want your business to grow, invest time into learning. People always ask me like, oh, what are things I should invest in? And like, I mean, investing into learning is important if you want to continue to grow. I'm not saying like spend crazy amount of money, but $15, like, I can do that, you know? So, okay. Any other questions? Anything? Okay, I'm gonna take a picture really quick, and I promise I will let you guys go. Thank you guys so much for being on tonight. If you think of anything, I will post this recording, and you can always comment below it, and I'm happy to share. So hopefully this is helpful. Okay, let's take a picture real quick, and then I'll pray over you guys. 1, 2, 3. I love it. Hang on, I think there's people on page 2. Let me get them really quick. So everybody's gonna have to smile again because you might be on page 2 and you just don't know it. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you guys. Okay, let me pray over you and I'll let you guys go. Heavenly Father, God, thank you so much for these incredible women, God. I just want to pray over them tonight, God, and just lift them up to you, God. First off, thank you for just their yes, God, whether it was 2 years ago or yesterday, God. Thank you for them just putting their yes on the table to be used by you, to serve people, to use fitness as their witness, God. Lord, I want to pray over right now their platforms that you have given them, God, that they would just steward them well, that they would be consistent and disciplined as they inspire other women, God. I pray that they would just use it as a tool just to point people to you, Jesus. Lord, I want to pray for the message that you've given them, Lord, that you would just take it and you would put it in the right hands. God, we trust you with that. And so I just pray that they would trust you with that too, not to be a slave to their phones, but God, to get in there, get the work done, and jump out, so they can be present with their families and they can just serve people and have a really good balance on it. God, I just want to pray against the enemy in any ways that he may try to use this against them, whether it is thinking that making it about them, or just getting so insecure and worried about what other people think. But God, I pray that you would just give us a confidence and just trust you with the message, and just give our best in it, God, and just steward it well. God, I love you so much, and thank you so much for all that you're doing here on this team. Would you just bless these women this week? Would you blow them away with the people that they bring their way? And I just pray that you would do big things here on this team, not because I need anything, God, not because I want anything, but what I want for them, God. And so I just pray that you would use them in incredible ways. And it's in your precious and holy name I pray. Amen. Thank you guys so much for being on tonight. Let me know if you have any questions.